Hello, this is the Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals, where we holistically seek the truth in life using our entrepreneurial spirit. I'm your host, JR Knopp. Hey, welcome everybody. This is JR. I'm your host. This is Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals. I'm here with Aaron. How you say it again?
Argetta.
Argetta. I'm horrible. Short-term memory. It's not the best of me.
All
So
good.
we're here with him. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What business or industry you in?
Yeah, good to connect, JR. And I'm in the pet CBD wellness space. Co-founder and CMO of Bailey's CBD for Pets, based in Costa Mesa, Southern California. And we've been established since 2017. And we focus specifically on pet wellness with the veterinarian and single source small batch pet products. So, seeing that we're aligned in the wellness space, and I see you guys do some CBD stuff. It's a great opportunity to connect, and hopefully we can, get some mutual value and learn from each other, and just be awesome colleagues moving forward here. So yeah, looking forward to
Yeah,
talking.
definitely. Awesome. So what got you into the CBD for pets? That's kind of a niche lane to be in. What inspired that move?
It's all inspired with the support and the early vision of my business partner Jay O'Keefe. He actually learned about growing cannabinoids and extracting cannabinoids under the guidance of the Stanley brothers back in, gosh, maybe 2010 or so. And Stanley brothers are the Charlotte's Web family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had a wellness dispensary in San Diego County, North County, San Diego, for many years that, focused primarily on things like Rick Simpson oil. And they were very into the healing and the wellness aspect of cannabis, not just like, products that are going to get you high, but more so, the forward thinking and opportunity of like the wellness side of it, healing. And they dealt with a lot of cancer patients with autoimmune
Mhm.
diseases, people that needed, real medicinal relief from cannabinoids. And uh, so Rick Simpson oil products were a big part of that movement. And through that, they learned about, high CBD strains like ACDC and things like this through, the guidance of people like the Stanley brothers and that crew. And so around 2016, my business partner, Jay, was making some high CBD, RSO type CBD products for people that had lupus and cancer and, different ailments where they were getting relief. And a lot of times people would get such profound, amazing results that they would then, be like, all right, well, now that I've got some great results from my lupus or, from my cancer, my dog actually has a lot of, ailments,
Mm.
X, Y, and Z, dealing with seizures, dealing with autoimmune issue, has
Mm-hmm.
weird growths happening, things like that. They're like, well, can I give this to my dog? And so Jay playfully in early 2016, started making a product, or just like a in kitchen kind of like small batch product, with like a self-made label with his pug dog Bailey on the label, is like, hey, this is something that people are asking for. Let's do a small batch and
Okay.
test it out. And people started giving it to their pets and finding really great relief. So, after some time of exploring that route, you know, we came together in 2017, and also during that time, we started realizing that CBD, everybody that was in the space at the time was doing everything under the sun, from drinks, gummies, oils, coffees,
Yeah.
and then they would have a pet product or two, and it became a very auxiliary part of the industry early on. So we wanted to double down and focus specifically on pets. And honestly, dealing with pets is such a better side of the industry. It opened us up to, it had the potential to open us up into the pet industry. And I don't know, we had some interesting experiences in the, for say, cannabis industry prior, both of us. So in 2017, we formalized the business Bailey CBD for Pets, and we wanted to make products from like our pets to yours, essentially, all focused specifically on quality and specifically focused on pet wellness. And then shortly after that, we partnered with a veterinarian partner, Dr. Robert J. Silver, DVM, who's actually based in Colorado. And he has, prior to working with us, he had 30 plus years of clinical research on dogs, cats, and even horses, and how their cannabinoid
Wow.
receptors respond to, things like CBD. And he actually wrote a book in the 1990s called Medical Marijuana in Pets. And that was a very,
I
early
I think
visionary
I
kind of
think I
book.
might have read that book back in the day. I think I know who you're talking about now. That's wow, that's interesting. Wow, okay. Wow. Wow. So that's how Bailey's came. Dog's name. They came up with the tree. So what other I know I was in that space a little bit too. The late 2019s, we were getting into it. What hurdles did you guys have, especially being like in almost the cannabis industry? Did you guys have, problems with direct sales from websites, or what were some of the roadblocks you ran into?
Oh man, that's a topic we can get into for like hours on end. I mean, adversity has been something
Well, I
that
mean,
we've,
highlight the
yeah.
best you can. Let's get on a couple of them. Just I want our audience to know that sometimes you got to overcome a lot, and think outside the box to be a small business owner, or to see something of that nature come in there. And then especially when it comes to alternative healing as well, you can't be afraid to step outside the box. And I know a lot of people are, or especially like for us, we've had merchant counts go down, and it's your online sailing. Next thing you know, you can't process a credit card, all hell's breaking loose. And then next thing you know, you're trying to scramble and find something else out. What did you guys run into? Any moment or anything you can really share?
Yeah, I mean, all of the above, dealing with product liability insurance and having to go to, high risk industry product liability insurance, which costs significantly more. I'm sure you're familiar with that. We were part of the Elevon banking crisis in 2019 when all the CBD merchants
Oh,
were shut down.
yep,
So yeah, our
yep.
website did take a halt in sales then. And I mean, even prior to that, dealing with crazy things like high level of reserves where they would hold your money for an extended period of time, and you would have to deal with the cash flow issue of not having a good chunk of your money available to you for many weeks down the line. So there's that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's also the education component. That's really why we wanted to focus on pets as well, and to be able to break down the stigma around CBD and separate it from cannabis around the Farm Bill of 2018. I mean, that really helped kind of, bridge things. I mean, the Farm Bill of 2014 was still very vague, and honestly, like nobody had heard of it. The Farm Bill of 2018 gave a little bit more clarity, and we just wanted to do our best to help educate customers about the difference between marijuana cannabis and hemp cannabis, and how we can retain a lot of the therapeutic value of the cannabis plant via hemp, and support our pets wellness with it. We've always done full spectrum products, and since 2018 we started a single source partnership with Moon Mother Hemp Co. in Boulder, Colorado. They have a 3 acre subplot where they grow uh, cannabinoid rich, flower rich hemp. A lot of companies we noticed in a lot of labs and extract brokers, they didn't really know what they were like where the hemp was coming from. They were just middlemaning a lot of it. We saw a whole lot of that,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw a lot of brands that were inconsistent with like hemp extracts, just buying whatever's the cheapest, especially on the human side. I think on the pet side, it seemed like people really care a lot more for the quality of the product than sometimes what we've seen from unscrupulous practices on the human side. But so we single sourced
Yeah.
with Moon Mother Hemco since 2018. We met them at a trade show, and there was immediate alignment. I mean, they treat their practice with such love and tender care that it really resonated with us. And also they do a subcritical CO2 extraction method from a USDA organic lab in Boulder, Colorado. And it's one of the only
Mm.
labs in the country that will do a subcritical CO2 extraction method. Supercritical is very
Wow.
popular. So most products that are CO2 extracted are supercritical. And through this partnership, we were able to start exploring things like subcritical CO2, which essentially, instead of using just pressure, uses temperature to essentially like cryo freeze the cannabinoids out of the plant. And palatability was a big thing early on. We were using ethanol extractions, which were
Mhm.
very, kind of gnarly. And, especially trying to give that to your dog. I mean, it's very
Yeah,
medicinal. Don't get me wrong, right? It's very medicinal and
sure.
there's a lot of great therapeutic value there, but it wasn't the most palatable. And, we were trying to get our dogs to ingest it as a meal topper. And, it became a big thing to overcome. But we were helping a lot of pets and we were getting good results. And honestly, the feedback from our customer base has always been what's driven us to keep going over adversity. So, we had things like PayPal shutting us off and holding, somewhere around like $10,000 of our money for many months, just out of the blue, didn't give us a heads up, just shut us down and held our money. And we had to figure out how to get it back. And, that was around late 2019. 2019 was a messed up year for the industry. I mean, all the payment processors were shutting down. PayPal was shutting everyone down. We were switching also around that time in California, where we're located. Cannabis became recreational in 2016, and from 2016 to like 2019, on one of our some of our best wholesale customers were all cannabis dispensaries. So, we were in that space selling hemp CBD products in the licensed cannabis dispensary space here in California, and most of our wholesalers were cannabis dispensaries. And then around 2019, the Bureau of Cannabis Control in California began really ramping up enforcement and coming down with an iron fist on cannabis dispensaries for selling hemp CBD products, which was just unfortunate that they, took such a strong stance against hemp CBD in the cannabis space in California.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we took a big loss there where, we had really good customers putting in really great orders on the cannabis side. And then all of a sudden that went dark. There were maybe like two or three.
Ugh.
Yeah. There were like two or three rogue stores that would deal with us. And then at the same time, a lot of our other stores that we were selling to were smoke shops, which, unfortunately for pet CBD, it's a very tough thing. Smoke shop owners, a lot of these guys, they're just like straight Middle Eastern businessmen that are like, what's the lowest price? I don't care about the quality. I just want something that's
Yep.
the lowest price for my customers. And
Hmm.
and we had to overcome that as well. C stores and smoke shops. We were, trying to cater to that for a while, and we figured, our brand, we didn't want to, we didn't want to degrade the quality of our product. We really believed in the quality of our extract, and we could have gone and bought cheaper extractions and lowered our MSRP in wholesale, but it wouldn't have served us long term. So we were like, you know what, we'll let some of these other guys that are doing, the champs trade shows and covering all the products kind of take that route. And we're going to focus on the pet store route. So around 2019, 2020, we had a big shift. We got a wholesale director in house in 2020 that started promoting us to pet stores. And from there, our brand really started shifting. We were, elevating our brand through COVID. Thankfully, we got an EIDL disaster relief loan from COVID that helped us just invest in more, branding and packaging and things like that. And our brand became a little
Yeah.
more elevated, and we were able to resonate more with the pet stores. We always go to the Super Zoo trade show in Las Vegas. That's our, the pet wellness B2B pet store trade show. And 2019,
Mm.
there was maybe 150 vendors at this trade show. And I mean, we just did it in August a couple weeks ago. And I mean, maybe there was 10 pet CBD brands. So from 2019, it was about 150 brands selling CBD products to about 10 selling CBD products this past year. So that we've been the underdogs, and none of the distros have ever picked us up. We still are not on a distribution channel in the pet store space.
Okay.
We
Okay.
we self distribute. We truly are the underdogs of the industry.
Nice.
Everything we've done has been self-funded too. We wanted to maintain, the integrity of our brand and not have to cut corners or deal with pressures from investors wanting immediate returns, or wanting us to do certain things to change our brand to, you know, to get some sort of immediate return. I don't know. It's kind of a tricky space when it comes to investors. So everything that we've done has been self-funded, and
Yes.
it's very tough for us to do that. We've taken a lot of sacrifice, and the people that have been on our team have truly believed in our product and our vision, and we're very grateful for that. And some of our best team members have been with us for the past like 5 to 6 years, really just supporting that vision. And and taking a chance on us, which we, we're forever grateful for. But it truly is a passion, a project of passion where we really care about what we do. We want to make the best quality products, even with lab testing requirements and things like that. In California, the Department of Health in 2023 started a Department of Health industrial hemp license program, and we were actually one of the first brands to do it. And with that, they finally started cracking down and making you lab tests for heavy metals, pesticides, residual solvents, mycotoxins, and cannabinoid potency for every batch of product, and like maintaining batch
Mm-hmm.
logs, maintaining SOPs, things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
actually, to this date, not a lot of brands are signed up, and even brands that are nationally distributed in pet stores, almost none of them are signed up to this program, and there's not a lot of enforcement, but it gives us a leg up in knowing that we're setting the standards, and we're adhering to the highest level of quality assurance for our product lines. And a lot of people still to this day test for just potency, leaving out heavy metals, pesticides, solvents, things like that. So that gives us an additional value addition to what we do. But I mean, we've also spent an arm and a leg on Google and Facebook trying to do the 2 clicks to conversion, workaround, and dealing with these media companies that are like, hey, give us 10, 20, $30,000 a month and we'll make you money on Facebook, and waving this like golden ticket in front of you. And we've gone down those routes a little bit, and especially during COVID, and we learned our lesson very difficultly. And through that process, we've also been over the years picking up white label and private label. So since 2019, we actually, maybe even 2018, we started manufacturing and fulfilling for a brand called Lola Hemp for Pets that's based in New York. And we manufacture, fulfill all their products, and they focus mostly on like Facebook and Google e-commerce marketing. So we're like, hey, we'll let them deal with the iron beast that is Facebook and Google. And we do like SEO, organic traffic, mostly for our online website sales, and just like retention marketing. So having them as an arm and of extension of our internal team as well, by manufacturing all their products and kind of always building camaraderie and information amongst each other, it helps us mutually grow. We in 2023 we picked up manufacturing CBD dog treats for a brand called Koi CBD. That's a massive pet CBD, or just a massive CBD brand in the human
Brand
space.
now. Yep.
So they cover a lot of the C-store stuff and a lot of the smoke shops. And so we're like, all right, great, we're able to make treats for a brand that's covering C-stores and smoke shops, and we don't have to delve into that route. Our focus has always been the pet independent pet stores, and that's where we've been thriving for the past 5 years. So now we're in a position where we're up against these behemoth of brands that have a lot of resources, a lot more resources than what we do. And we're figuring out how to get into larger chains of distribution, bigger chains of pet supply stores and things like that. And even dealing with Amazon, we have Lola Hemp. Lola Hemp, they figured out a loophole to get the labeling of products where they can sell a few items on Amazon. We've tried to go down that route. It's just it's a super competitive, expensive game on that route as well. And I mean, man, there's so much that we've overcome as far as adversity goes and things that pop up in the way. Dealing with like an FDA warning letter in April this past year and overcoming that, having to adjust our entire website, having to adjust certain tweaks of things that on our Instagram pages and things like that, which we did overcome. And, it's like, just when things start always to look a little more sweeter, there's something that just, pops up and makes us have to reassess things. But,
Yeah.
man, I know I just laid a like a 15-minute,
Oh, no,
lowdown right
you
there.
meant unfortunately, I know a lot about what you're dealing with. I'll have to send you a digital copy of the book I just wrote, but I've had to deal with the FDA actually coming in and doing raids and testing of my labs and their BS behind that, and them trying to bully me to get out of the business and to say kratom was this. And in the kratom industry, similar like what you guys have gone through, we go through all the rigorous testing. We do, and I've done that just a lot myself because I take pride in what I want to put something out there quality. And I see that a lot with you, and especially being a small business owner. A lot of people just think it's just peaches and cream. Oh, you could set your own work hours, you're your own boss and everything else. It's like, no, there's a lot that goes into it, and you got to be adaptable. You've got to be able to change business models. I mean, that's kind of what I talked about in my book of the different turns I've had to just overcome. And it sounds like a similar boat down a similar river. You know, we're just trying to make the adjustments to get to the end destination without wrecking everything in between. I know exactly what you're talking. I've been at them champ show. I think I can't remember exactly what year it was, but it was, you know, CBD was really, it was probably that 18, 17, probably 17, maybe 18. Either way, they did, some independent guy came through there and started testing all the CBD, and a majority of the products for the humans didn't even have CBD in it. And then they quietly got booted out, and it was just, and I think kind of like what you were alluding to, now there's only 10 left versus the 150 that was there before. A lot of people are just trying to scam, and that gives our industry a bad name, especially, you know, when it comes to CBD or kratom. People going out and putting other stuff into it. And I know I feel better when I can go to my clients and say, here's our lab testing of all of our products. You know, we do it above and beyond what should be. But some of these other people are out there scamming. They're putting out false products, and I mean,
I remember
unfortunately, in our
in 2019 it was a big thing.
yes,
Sildenafil was found in Louisiana in like a million bottles of CBD oil from a brand, and I mean
oh,
it's it's crazy.
well, and I just recently in our industry, there's been a lot of people trying to put fentanyl in there. I
Oh
had
wow.
one brand out of Florida, similar style name to ours, and the guy calls up and said, "Hey, I tested positive for fentanyl. This stuff really put me on my ass. I almost got in trouble." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa."
Oh
Well, we're
shit.
Blissful Botanicals, not Bliss Botanicals, and you better go report those guys, because if they got fentanyl in there, hell no, you're putting bad shade on the industry, and that's unfortunately, it's kind of what the big industry kind of likes that stuff going on, because and then it's harder for us smaller industries to kind of keep on pace. So I swear sometimes that's just my opinion, but sometimes I swear they go out there and do that stuff on purpose just to try to throw shade on the smaller companies that are trying to do it right and just trying to survive, especially when it comes to the distribution lines, and you kind of have to know certain people. And like you said, you got to be willing to bend the price. And it's just like, well, at a certain price, it doesn't make sense. And like what you're saying, yeah, I want to hold my quality. And I think a lot of people get scared of that, and they feel like they got to chase that short-term gain instead of the long-term quality. And then how long you guys been around in business?
We were formally established in 2017, and 2016 was like the first time we started selling on shelves.
Wow. So almost 10 years in the business.
Yeah, yeah, we're resilient. Like I said, we're underdogs, so it's like, we're here for the long run. We want to make a lasting business that's gonna, you know, be like the Heinz ketchup of pet CBD, something that's gonna be around forever to, to
There you
sustain
go.
the market. And I mean, yeah, we've it seems like we've seen it all, and it's really awesome to connect with you because we're definitely have overcome a lot of similar battles, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, I mean we just hit our decade, our 10 years in business this last June, and it's been a battle. It's been it, but like you said, I'm planning to be around here for long term. It's kind of why I got into doing this podcast is too, you know, is just, you know, as a small business owner, I'm trying to think of other ways to get a hold of people, to inform people, to get the message out there. And you know as well as I do, you got to think of all the alternatives being a small business owner. You know, you can't go at it like everybody else sometimes. You got to think a little bit outside the box. And that's why I'm kind of hoping this podcast will inspire other business owners or people that might be on the fence, or even, you know, people that I know for me, I found really great use for CBD for my dogs around 4th of July. Oh my gosh, it made such a big difference for them. And then especially the dogs that get cooped up all day sometimes, they're just naturally hyper or wound up. And that's just the small benefits compared to like what you just went through a whole list. And I think a lot of, you know, pet owners as well, just to go back to what your business is, I think they're afraid unless their vet says so.
We've
And
been
have you had much trouble getting a hold of like the veterinarian community or helping promote it in there at all?
Yes. I mean, California alone, there's a bill that passed in 2023, AB 1885, which actually opened up veterinarians to be able to discuss and recommend cannabinoid products for pets. But even since then, there's a large portion of veterinarians in California, especially ones that are in chain organizations or like, just they're tied to like big food or big pharma. They're
Mm-hmm.
resilient. They're very resilient to recommending it or discussing it primarily on the basis of like, they really want to see more formal research and more formal recommendations coming from other veterinarians. And so, it is an uphill battle there, but there are some really awesome veterinarians, especially like where we're at. We're centrally located in a very proactive and like innovative part of the country where Orange County is in San Diego, and those areas are like, very forward thinking and integrative when it comes to, trying new things like CBD and wellness. And for a long time, it was, 90% of people plus we would ask, hey, have you ever given CBD to your pets? Oh, I would never give marijuana to my pets, or,
Mm-hmm.
what is CBD? And then, we would go through that education journey with them. And next thing you know, some of these people, once we go through that education journey with them, you'd see like a nice, sweet 80-year-old lady that was like really adamant about not giving it to their pet or hearing us out, even turning to some of our best customers because they finally, started understanding it. And then, we'd have people quite often, in our area that now we see where they're like being a little bit more combative with their vets, and they've seen other things like the food industry exploit them through the vet industry. These veterinarians prescribing Hills or Science Diet and these garbage foods that have things like
Mm.
sugar and grain and things that are going to keep them coming back to the vet. And if you do that, then you're going to keep being able to prescribe them. You're going to keep them as a revenue customer. So um, big vets are definitely, in a gambit. So we it's a thing that a lot of pet owners in our area are becoming way more aware of, and they're actually challenging their vets more often, and they're now coming to them like, hey, I'm not asking you about CBD, like I'm telling you this is what our dog is on, or things like that. But there are some great veterinarians. There's one like a mile or two down the road from us at our facility in Costa Mesa that avidly refers customers to us. And we actually, this was actually Bailey the dog's vet when he was alive. And he actually saw
Hey.
some he saw some lab result tests. And when Bailey should have been kind of on the downhill, his lab results and blood work started coming back with like significant improvements. And our veterinarian was like, hey, like what's going on? Like, is his lab results are actually improving. And Jay was like, hey, like this is our company, Bailey CBD, this is what we do. And it's great to see that the lab results are coming back. And then from that point, it was like a light bulb went off. He's like, oh, maybe there is something to this and there's some merit to it. And he started referring a bunch of customers to us ever since. So it does take a lot of overcoming, but once they do get it, they get it.
Well, and I think we're living in some very interesting times where I think a lot of people, because of COVID and the blatant overreach by the powers that be, because I feel the same way about, and I'm not saying all, I'll just say that right now, I'm not saying all doctors or all veterinarians, but nowadays, in my opinion, it seems like they're not doctors or veterinarians anymore. They're taught to look for a specific thing and prescribe a specific thing for that ailment. It's like they don't get into the nuts and bolts of it unless they've learned it from their textbook. It doesn't really compute. It's nice to see that your vet like, oh, hey, here's some actual real data results, which unfortunately big industry, I swear, loves to hide that stuff and make it very hard to go out and look for. It's there. I won't say it's not there, but they don't make it as readily available as it should because I think they have a profit motive. There's no motive in cures. There's no motive on things that will actually fix you and help you heal. They want you to just be good enough to where they can keep you in their little hamster wheel of profits and here, keep coming back. We want to just give you well enough so you're functional, but not, let's not cure you. And I mean, I've seen that a lot of, I had to go through a couple vets until I got to one that was more understanding and not always just trying to prescribe something. Like, let's find out what the core issue is versus let's just attack the symptoms. And a lot of it comes down to food and diet. I mean, you look at the crap that luckily my mom's retired and she makes a lot of our dog foods. I got a bunch of Frenchies. I got like, well, two myself, but then they had kids. So I got five altogether. Great little handful. But luckily my mom started making the dog food in house. And I think it has helped out tremendously of keeping them from going to the vet constantly and everything else. And I think that kind of goes into what humans are too. And I think everybody's kind of waking up going, ooh, just because you're a professional, why should I trust you? What do you have behind you that actually proves what you're saying? And I think a lot of people are asking more and more questions, and especially when it comes to like vets and doctors. So I just see a huge opportunity in this space of natural healing and things coming from Mother Nature. It's like we've been here hundreds of thousands of years. Mother Nature's been here way longer and been doing it. This plant's on the earth for a reason. There's a lot of things that benefit, and I feel the same way about kratom as well. It's an all natural thing. It helps people that are going down that path, especially people on opioids and helping with addiction and your general ailments without having all the debilitating side effects as a lot of like the opioids and stuff. And that's kind of how I got into my industry, is saying, I see there's a better way. There's got to be something outside the norm, because it seems like the norm just wants you to be in this little bit of hamster wheel where they have the right guardrails up. And as long as you can stay within the guardrails, everything will be fine. But if you question and go outside that, no, 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 we don't like you. You guys are bad, and we're going to throw the book at you and make it virtually impossible to do business. And you're going to have to climb over all these hurdles. But sounds like us, you've climbed over them and you see the top of the mountain, and it's like, no, guys, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for a long time. And I only see this getting bigger and bigger as the industries progress. And I think a lot of like the lies that will come out about big pharma and some of the practices that have been going on in both arenas and veterinary and pharma, I think a lot of people are going to start waking up and going, I want to hear what the alternative guy has to say. We've heard what you professionals been saying for years, and we ain't got any better. Let's hear what they got to say. And I think it'll open up a huge lane for businesses like us moving forward. Well, we're kind of reaching towards the end. Tell people how they can find you, or any information you'd like to pass on right now to my audience.
Sweet. Yeah. BaileyCBD.com, or if you have a Android or Apple phone, shop Bailey's on the mobile app store. And we have a telephone hotline, 844-PET-CBD. PETS CBD, and our team's always happy to assist and help answer questions. But yeah, and also at Bailey CBD on all social platforms. We always run giveaways and collaborative things on Instagram, so that's always a great way to connect with us. But yeah, if you're a veterinarian, if you're a dog influencer, if you're somebody that's interested in promoting wellness, we also have an affiliate program on our website, and we're always doing our best to keep growing the wellness space. And it's an absolute honor and a pleasure to get to connect with you, JR. Yeah, it sounds like we're both fighting the same fight.
No, I always like a fellow patron and someone who's in this fight for the good and betterment of mankind. I mean, that's why I called the podcast Inspiring Minds. I'm hoping just to inspire a few people to go down a different and better path. So I appreciate you coming on. And we'll talk when we get off here. But till next time, everybody.
Take care.
This has been The Inspiring Minds with Blissful Botanicals. I hope you enjoyed this episode. To find any of our great products, log on to blissfulbotanicals.shop, and hope to see you again soon. Eyes open, no fear. I'm your host, JR Knopp.